Carter Thompson and also Hakim Denish, there's no way that they're going to get back into actual podium contention from here. 146.5 and a 146.8 respectively, compared to that 44.9 from the race leader Furusato. Shiril and Mie have both responded on lap 13, and Furusato stands up, has a good look over his shoulder just to check how many people are in this group, and I can tell you that unless one of these three riders goes down, these are going to be your podium trio. The question is, in what order?
Yeah, for Furusato, that's another time we've seen him have that big look over his shoulder. He's not afraid of checking to see who's around him, and he's not trying to just keep his head down and focusing on his lap times. He wants to know what's happening around him. That shows he's probably got a little bit of pace in hand as well for these final 3.5 laps.
Yes, the top 5 in this race are all in the top 6 positions in the championship. Hamada, who crashed at turn 10 earlier on in this race, is the odd one out, and the top 3 in points terms, a tie at the moment between Gunmir and Hakim Denish, settled by the best result, which was Gunmir's second place in the opening race of this campaign, which means that the top 3 in the championship standings are the top 3 on track at present, and they are in the order they are in the championship, which would mean that the gaps between them all would continue to extend. 3 laps to go, and Shiril losing ground again around the first turn of lap 14 with a bit of an error.
Yeah, Furusato is trying to turn the wick up now as well at this stage, and last time around he was able to lose a couple of tenths of a second with that look over his shoulder to see who was around him, but he's still got a good amount of pace in hand. We'll see if he's able to really try and stretch out his lead now in this lap. He looks like he's got his head down, wants to try and really be aggressive and open up a bit of a gap. It was only 2 tenths of a second when they came across the line. It's up to half a second now.
Yes, as you can see on the screen, the gap to the leader, 8 tenths of a second for Mie in 3rd position, and it could very well turn into a duel between Shiril and Mie here for 2nd place, because Furusato really kicking on. Shiril responding around that latest sector through the twistier stuff and in towards turn 10. They're making their way now, the leaders, through turns 11 and 12. It switches on to the final sector as we switch back to the battles further down the order. Deo, well, they've switched at just the right time. Deo making a lunge down the inside. I think that might have been of Aditama, and both of them have gone down and into the gravel trap, and Deo looks Aditama looks none too pleased with Deo there after that ambitious move down the inside. Another incident at turn 10.
Yeah, and for Aditama, that was out of 6th position, and on course for a really good performance here at his home round. See Carter Thompson then making the move through the fast right-handers at the end of the lap.
And this will be for 4th position as Hakim Denish loses a place. Carter Thompson then through back into P4. These two have been swapping and changing. I suspect that if we'd been watching just that battle, we would have seen another 100 of those overtaking manoeuvres. We're now on to the penultimate lap of the race for the leaders. Furusato 4 tenths of a second up ahead of Shiril, who's got in front of Mie and made a 3 tenths of a second advantage.
Yeah, and you can see there Aditama there on the number 3 going down, and again, like you said, Alex, another move into turn 10. It's easy to be a little bit ambitious on the run into there, and just to have an instant like that at the front of the field, though. Furusato's doing a good job now just to keep that lead at around about 3 tenths of a second. Shiril's digging in. Last time around in the final sector, he did close back to within a couple of tenths of a second, but it's really difficult to try and close that gap then in Furusato.
And haven't we seen that already in 2021 in the Asia Talent Cup? Furusato happy to lead at the front of the field, happy to try and break his rivals for pure pace, not too worried about the slipstream advantage that's given to the riders behind him, because he knows he's got an inherent pace advantage. He wasn't able to show it in qualifying here a week ago, but thanks to the free practice sessions as well earlier on today, he's clearly got to grips with this 4.3 kilometre Mandalika International Circuit, our first ever race here around this venue, and it's in the Asia Talent Cup. But it looks like the one thing that hasn't changed is our race leader. Furusato out in front, looking set to extend his series lead.
Yeah, Shiril's doing a good job in this lap, though, holding with him, and he's a 10th of a second faster so far, but the clock is winding down all the way. It's really important now for Shiril to get close enough to try and attack into turn 1.
It's looking as though it's going to be the same top 2 for 3 races in a row. We had this finishing order between Furusato and Daniel Shiril in both of the races at the Doha Grand Prix. Furusato has had only 1 finishing position in 2021, and they've all been worth 25 championship points. Shiril then 2 tenths further down, and we've got a fall, and is that Denish? Yes, it is. It's Denish who's gone down in his fight with Carter Thompson. Last time over the line, he was in front, I think, of Thompson in the battle for 4th place. We'll see what happens here.
Yeah, keep an eye in the background, and you're going to see for Denish, just tries to be a little bit aggressive through that last corner, trying to make sure he's able to close up on Carter Thompson to set up a move on the final lap, and just asks a bit too much of his Honda machinery.
Yes, now look at the leaders, a tenth of a second between them on this final lap. Shireel has managed to find something a little bit special, a little bit extra. He was stuck down in 6th position at one stage. He's fought his way through onto the tail of Furusato. Furusato still unbeaten in 2021. Daniel Shireel might be about to have a go at stopping that from being the scenario. They make their way now in towards turn 10. This has been an action hotspot all race long. It's been an incident hotspot all race long as well. Furusato there defending to the inside. It's going to be single file through here. Turns 11 and 12 in towards the final sector. Shireel chooses now down the inside into 12. Catches Furusato by surprise. Opportunity for Furusato on the number 15 here to make a recovery in similar fashion as they come off 13 and 14. What about a lunge into turn 16, the slowest corner on the circuit? Daniel Shireel looking for his first race victory since his return to the Asia Talent Cup. He was last a winner in Thailand 2018. He's fighting for the lead here against Furusato, the championship leader, who goes soaring around the outside bravely. 2 turns to go, 16 and now 17. They come through the left-hander, and it's Furusato who once again leads. It is Taiyo Furusato of Japan to make it 5 wins out of 5, and the inaugural race victory at the Mandalika International Circuit goes to Taiyo Furusato. The first time this season that he's been off pole position, the first time he's ever been off pole position in the Asia Talent Cup, but he doesn't disappoint. He comes through to the front. He leads almost throughout. Daniel Shireel was disappointed with that, shaking his head in his hands practically as he made his way back in towards turn number 1. Shireel second best, but only by 0.2 of a second. That's 3 races in a row now where he's tried to give Furusato a real run for his money. Gunmie with his 3rd podium finish of this 2021 campaign, 2nd time that he's finished in P3. Carter Thompson, an isolated 4th position in the end after late drama for Hakim Denish. So it does look as though we're only going to have 14 finishers to this race. I think I cursed it earlier on when I said that there hadn't been that many retirements in the Asia Talent Cup in 2021. And that means that Fadilla on the Raycat Fadilla making his debut in the Asia Talent Cup is a strong performer, the Indonesian rider, with P5 ahead of Herjan Ferdaus, who takes P6, and Shireel, Pratama, Fujita and Buapa eventually remounting to come home for 10th place. So a bit of wacky races at times, but the one thing that was, as we might have anticipated before the lights went out, a fine victory that from Furusato, bold around that final sector in particular.
Yeah, Furusato coming through from the 2nd row of the grid, and he'll have to do the same again in tomorrow morning's race, but certainly for him, he was able to show once again the talent that he has on offer. That last corner move that he made through the long right-handers, the ever-decreasing radius right-handers, it really was impressive. That took your breath away, really, and Daniel Shireel did nothing wrong during the course of that race. He holds the right line on the run into those right-handers. You saw him whenever he came across the line, he had to look up to the skies and just think, what do I have to do to win a race?
And aggressive when he needed to be as well through turn 12. I wasn't expecting really to see a move there, but Shireel had got close enough to try and strike and capitalised on the opportunity.
Yeah, and I think for Shireel, put everything he could onto this and left it all on the track, and we saw that he was able to set fast lap times to bridge himself back up to the 2 race leaders. But ultimately in that final lap, Furusato just had that little bit in hand, and a really daring move by Furusato. But that's why he's the rider that's already guaranteed to be on the World Championship grid next year.
This is one of the men of the moment as far as the Indonesian spectators here this weekend will be concerned. Raycat Fadilla, the number 24, on his Asia Talent Cup debut, and coming home for 5th position. A couple of Indonesian riders scoring decent points here today.